welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Phi and Golf. And like I said, the Election Commission obviously at this point have to find a different tactic as well. Now they do say that they do have plan B, plan C, but obviously cannot actually disclose that at this time because it's going to be difficult. But one thing for sure, they say that today will be nonetheless, the drawing of the numbers for all the candidates that will be contest in this general election on February 2nd of next year. However, they say that there's options already that has been talked because yesterday at the Queen Sirikit National Convention Center, several of the leaders of parties that want to contest in this election has already gotten together. For example, Kun Banhan Silapa Acha or even Kun Somchai Wongsawatt of the Pheu Thai party. They gotten together along with the other parties that already, filed their complaints and saying that they would like to join this particular general election, saying that if the EC or if neither of them can actually get to the place, the Thai Japanese Youth Center, they say that perhaps another option is having the EC commissioners do it, drawing the numbers on behalf of all the parties, and that will be aired as well as the reporters should be there as the witness to this particular event. And they say that I think they are going to submit all the letters that saying that they are allowing the EC to do so. So that was one of the options that has been talked about between Kun Jarupong Rungsawan of the Pheu Thai Party, Kun Banhan Silapa Acha, of course, of Chat Thai Patana Party, Kun Sontaya Kun Plum was there as well from Palang Chon Party, as well as Dr. Wanarat Chanukul of Chat Patana Party and several others. So at this point, it was going to be today. It is going to be today and tomorrow. But the EC has already said that if that's not the case, if 9 o'clock this morning, none of the people could able to get inside the venue itself, then another option might be on the 9th floor of the Election Commission itself. That's what they said anyway. But overall, they say that each of the parties will be informed later on. So I think it's going to be quite difficult to maneuver over this particular incident. And obviously the protesters are quite, I think they became quite intense of late in terms of trying to prevent all the people from getting in. So I'm not quite sure how are you going to disguise yourself and going in.
This might be the most difficult election process ever in Thai history.
It will be interesting, that's for sure.
Talking about that, a way to solve the ongoing political conflict here. Yesterday, I reported about the proposal from various sides of the society. Now, the government has already do something and announced yesterday. The caretaker Prime Minister Kun Yingluck Shinawatra had proposed the formation of a 499-member Thailand Reform Council to begin reform the country after February 2nd election. She said this would be the best choice to bring the country back to peace and order, as the council will be represented by people from all occupations. In the nationwide broadcast a little bit before noon yesterday, the Prime Minister said her caretaker government would act only as an organizer by using the Prime Minister's order to select 2,000 people from all walks of life to be the Reform Council. And these representatives will then sit down to choose from among themselves in respective to each occupation to form the 499-member National Reform Council. She said the council will comprise of representatives from the 3 armed forces, from ministries' permanent secretaries, from the heads of government agencies, and from the National Economic and Social Development Board. University rectors, Thai Chamber of Commerce, Federation of Thai Industries, Thai Bankers Association, and qualified people. And with all the names I mentioned, it seems that she trying to involve various parts of the society, the trade, board of directors, or even the university people. Now, the Reform Council that she said will be tasked to conduct studies on making proposals on constitutional amendments, economic structure improvement, people's participation in politics, cancellation of laws and regulations that may hinder the reforms, measures to prevent and suppression of corruptions and decentralization as well. The Council will be required to submit their studies on these proposals to the Prime Minister as soon as possible and publicly so that their proposals would be implemented immediately. She said she hoped that the process should be ready within January. However, not unexpectedly, the People's Democratic Reform Committee, or the PDRC, has come out and rejected the government's proposal for setting up the Thailand Reform Council. Co-leader of the group, Kun Thawon Seniam, said that the government's proposed council, which is a matter to buy time while going ahead with the February 2nd election, which is different from the proposal of the 7 business organizations that calls for the creation of a reform council and real reform to take place before an election. Various figures of the Democrat parties have already criticized the government-supported Reform Council as well.
Because that's the thing, a lot of people were actually requesting the reform prior to it. So I think at this point, the government probably will have to take into the considerations for the other parties as well. We'll see what's going to happen, obviously.
There might be the issue of the people that come into the body as well.
That's true. All right, with that, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, Kun Chen will give us a little bit of, I guess, a taste of what the PDRC has in mind at this point. Apparently, they said that definitely they will have to press on until February the 2nd, and that's meaning all the way to next year, another month. So please stay tuned.